This stuff, we aren't quite ready to do that yet, but it's trying to do it. Okay. So, it's telling us, open the SDK manager by running Android, which we've already done. It was on our path, so we're running it. And you will require the SDK platform for Android 22, Android version 22. I believe that we'll be able to go to more later versions than that later, but let's see if we can get Android 22 on there. So we come to here, and then right now it's trying to install Android 6, and we don't want that. And you need to be careful, because some of these things, like the Android TV ARM EABY are huge. They could be like gigabytes in size, so you can just blow away your whole hard drive by installing some of the wrong stuff. So you don't want to do it. If you have installed it, you can uninstall it by checking the little boxes over here and choosing uninstall. But what we want is Android 5.1, this one, the API 22. Which is what they're asking for, Android 22.
Do we need the whole thing or just the SDK?
And that's exactly correct. We just want the SDK. We certainly don't want these things. It's possible the Atom thing might be useful, but I don't really know how to use it right now, so let's not even get that. The Google APIs might not be the end of the world, but don't get this one, don't get this, don't get this. If we decide we want something, we can install it later, but we want to try to protect. I've given you 16 gigabyte on these things, but we want to try to protect our hard drive by not installing. And then it wanted the platform tools, the latest, which is up here, and it wants the build tools, so those should be checked.
Where's that manager?
Just type Android from the command prompt, and it should work. And then they wanted this Android support library way down here in the bottom. So what it says now at the very bottom here is install 5 packages.
Can you scroll up? I have 6.
Well,
So we have support library. We have, oh, I found it. Okay.
yeah. I think this is right. We may have to mess with this a little tiny bit. But I'm going to try it now and install the packages. It comes to here, and it says accept, and I accept everything. And this is the one where the first child goes to the founders of. And then stopping ADB server failed code -1. We don't have the ADB server installed yet, so that's okay. Couldn't stop it the first time, but in the future, it might not be running. But you can see it's trying to download the 22.
So
That just seemed way too simple. It should go on for like an hour or something. So I doubt that that worked, but you can see the principle.
So which one's the platform can I see for the 5.11?
It was, so now you can see which ones are installed on my system.
SDK, Google API.
Just the 2.
Just the 2 for now. I think that's all we
Then
need.
the Android platform, SDK platform build tools, and then support tools or support library.
Yeah.
And make
And
sure
then-
6.0 is unchecked.
So now I'm trying Cordova build Android, and something's happening. wish I'd had all this worked out ahead of time, but. So what it's doing right now is trying to build the APK. Sometimes there may be some weird thing that we're gonna need to install before it's gonna work right. I just have this vague memory.
There's a process debug resources.
Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So,
Wednesday?
I think Wednesday, this gives me my assignment for the next couple days, and we got far enough along on this. You could look in the discussion area, and maybe I'll have it cleared up by then, but then we can start doing this. I'll also try to remember to bring in a USB cable so I can attach my phone to the machine, so we can try actually installing it. And we'll also try a couple other things. I'll try to get the Android x86 stuff rolling for us. But you can see kind of where we're headed, the direction that we're going into. The only other thing that I want to show you is, just so you'll get the picture, I'm going to go to that directory, to the existing project. So I was in JS, I was in Git, I was in JS objects, I was in Elvin Geo, Cordova, Elvin Geo, and you go to the WW directory, and do you see how the WW directory looks exactly like the public directory would look in a project? We call it a JS instead of JavaScript, but otherwise it's the same. And inside the JavaScript directory,
So no Jade this quarter?
oh no, I'll keep you going with the Jade. You know I'm never gonna let go of the Jade. Yeah, Jade. There's just certain things it gets worse too, because there's nothing worse than like February, right? Right now you're fresh from vacation. There's been some sunshine in the last few days, but wait until like mid-February. It's been raining for 2 months straight, right? And we're stuck. We've all got bugs in our program and nothing's working, and I'm saying we just have to do the midterm anyhow, and nobody can get it to compile, and nothing's going on, and you'll all just be furious, and then we'll know, right? If we're really in the midst of it. It'll be okay. You know, we'll make it through one way or another.
You wanna see like the bit bucket stuff done and that kind of stuff, basic stuff in last quarter?
Yes, we'll need to start a Bitbucket. If you wanted to start a Bitbucket, it would be ISIT322 class name, you know, exactly the same way from before. And if you wanted to start a folder in your Google Drive, you could start an ISIT322 class name folder and share it with me.
So we can go ahead and get all our online stuff.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I'll try to make an official assignment and everything out of it, so you can get your 100 points credit for doing it. But we just got as far as we could. And this at least gets us started, and you can kind of see the direction we're headed. But you can see, I mean, this is just all, there's, you know, here I am using jQuery right in the middle. It's all, there's nothing unusual in the code, lots of code that you've already seen, or maybe some variants on it that will allow us to, oh yeah, this is the one that's actually they have. This is the link between, this file is the link between your code and the code that's running on the JavaScript. So you can give a command using JavaScript, and then they'll translate it over to the Java code and run the program. And this is one of the places where there's that link. And we'll talk about that. There's plenty to cover, there's lots to do. It's kind of fun, this stuff. I never said it, but it was a good quarter last quarter for everyone who was in the class. You guys did an incredible job. I was amazed that you did it. It was fun. It was actually relatively pleasant. I only wanted to kill myself like 2 or 3 of the weeks out of the whole quarter. And I think some of you guys had it down as low as 4 and 5. So it was really, I think, a highly successful quarter compared to usual. So
That's funny.
it was fun. And everything will be a mess. All right, guys. Sorry about the short class with Patty Smith. It's like, I'm sorry, deep down inside, I just